Hello and welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're going to be making the Munch Fungus Loaf from the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge cookbook. The ingredients we're going to need are 1 cup of warm water, 3 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/2 pound or 3 cups of diced mushrooms. I'm using a combination of white button and the mini king oyster mushrooms. You'll also need 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of red curry paste, 1 tablespoon of honey, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 3 tablespoons of a plain yogurt, 2 cloves of garlic that's been finely minced, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, and 2 teaspoons of an instant fast-acting yeast. And those are all the ingredients. So I'm going to go ahead and move you over to my stove where we're going to start cooking down our mushrooms and our garlic. Alright guys, I've already gone ahead and heated up my oil, and I'm going to go ahead and start by dumping my mushrooms in. And my garlic, and we're going to go ahead and start letting this saute for about 5 minutes or until our mushrooms become tender. Alright guys, it has been 5 minutes since I started cooking the mushrooms, and they've already started releasing some of their water. I'm going to go ahead and add in my 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, and we're going to let this cook for a little bit longer, probably about another minute or so, until the soy sauce gets absorbed and the majority of the liquid has cooked off. While I'm doing this, I would like to remind you of the Gamers and Geeks playlist that JP Death and I have going on our channels. It is a community-driven playlist made up of you, our friends and YouTube family. If you guys would like to be a part of it, it's really easy. All you have to do is go out and make a cooking video, and once you've done that, post it to your channel, and then let either JPIC or I know, either in the comments section of our latest cooking videos, or if you're a part of our Discord servers, you can let us know over there as well. The only thing we do ask is that you do mention the Gamers and Geeks playlist somewhere in your video, as well as leaving a link to it down in your description. And that way we can just continue to support all the people that have already contributed to the list. Alright guys, I'm going to let this sit here and simmer until that soy sauce has been absorbed, and I'll bring you back. Alright guys, I think the majority of that has cooked off. So all I'm going to do now is add in my red curry paste, give this a quick stir, and then I'm going to remove it from the heat and allow this to completely cool before we add it into our flour. Alright guys, I've got the mushroom mixture all cooled down, so we can go ahead and start making the bread part of this recipe. I'm going to start by adding in my water, as well as the honey, our sugar, our yeast, and the yogurt. Let me give this a quick little stir first though. Alright, now in goes the yogurt. Next thing that's going to be going in is our mushrooms. I'm going to go ahead and add in around 1 cup of our flour just to get this started a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and stir that in before I add in our salt and pepper. Alright guys, I've got the flour stirred in. I'm going to go ahead and add in our salt and pepper now, as well as just a little bit more of our flour. And I want to slowly start incorporating this in until it gets to the point that I can no longer stir with my little spatula here. And then I'm going to move it over to my stand mixer and allow it to continue kneading. Alright guys, I can tell you this thing smells amazing already, but I have gotten to the point where my spatula can no longer handle this. So I'm going to go ahead and move it over to my stand mixer. And I think I've got about, I don't know, maybe 3/4 of a cup of flour there. I will add in just as much as I need to bring this whole ball of dough together. Alright guys, I've got the bread dough out of the machine, and I've been kneading it here for a couple of minutes. When it came out, it was very tacky, so you'll definitely want to flour your board. And all I'm doing now is looking for it to spring back when I touch it. And I do believe it's just about there. Give it a couple more little kneads here. Make sure all the mushrooms are tucked in. Alright guys, I think I've got it to exactly where I want it. When I touch it, it does spring back. I'm going to transfer this into a well-oiled bowl, and then I'm going to put it over in my oven that has just the light on to allow it to rise for about an hour or until it's doubled in size. So I'll see you once that's done. Alright guys, our bread dough is done rising, and it did double in size. It does feel really well, and it smells very good. And all I'm doing right now is gently rolling it out a little bit so that it's going to be the size of a 9 by 15 or 9 by 5, excuse me, loaf pan. So that looks pretty good to me. I think if I bring my loaf pan in, that should be just about where I want it. Feels like it's stuck a little bit to the bottom of my board, so I may have to scrape it a little bit. But what you want to do is start at one end and tightly roll it up. Yeah, let me grab my bench scraper real quick. Alright guys, I've got my bench scraper to help me roll this up. And this dough is extremely tacky, so make sure you've floured your board very well. Alright guys, I'm just going to pull that up. Seems like it's gotten a little bit longer than my loaf pan, but I can make it work. And I'm just going to pinch my seams in, and then I'm going to tuck my end pieces in for that seam as well as this other end. And that should hopefully get me back to the size of my loaf pan. There we go. Just bring my loaf pan in, and you want to make sure your loaf pan is well oiled. And it's going to fit perfectly. Very nice. So now all I'm going to do is cover this with a little plastic wrap and then a dry tea towel. I'm going to set it over into a warm place and let it double in size again for about 40 minutes. And then I'm going to put it into a 400-degree oven and allow it to bake for 40 minutes. So I will see you once this comes out of the oven. Alright guys, our Munch Fungus Loaf is out of the oven. It did bake for the full 40 minutes at 400 degrees, but I think it got a little bit darker than what I would have liked. But regardless, it does smell very well. And I'm going to go ahead and go in and give it a taste, see what we think about it. Alright guys, I really do enjoy the flavor of this. The curry flavor is very subtle, as is the garlic, but you do get it in there. I was afraid it was going to be a little bit too sweet with the sugar and the honey, but it's not. It's very well balanced with the curry. Overall, I will definitely be making this again and serving it alongside probably either a nice hearty soup or stew. But that is going to be it for me for the day. If you enjoyed this video, leave me a comment down below. If you guys tried this recipe out, let me know how it turns out for you. Remember to check out the Gamers and Geeks playlist, as well as my other Star Wars cooking videos. I will leave links down in the description to them. And as always, thank you all so very much for joining me today. I've been Vault Girl. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.